All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Rob Zaleski, digital content marketer here at Shipping Easy. Thanks so much for joining us for this short 20-minute webinar where we'll be giving you 7 tips to boost sales during the back-to-school season. Before we get started, I'd like to cover just a couple of housekeeping items. First, we recommend that you close other browsers and tabs and any other programs that may be zapping your internet bandwidth to make sure that the webinar runs smoothly for you. Also, if you have any questions during the webinar, or sorry, if you have any issues during the webinar, try exiting out and coming back in. A lot of times that fixes any issues. If you do have any questions throughout the webinar, please use the questions box and we'll address them during the Q&A at the end of the webinar. This will be recorded and made available to you shortly after the webinar concludes. There will also be a link at the end of this where you can access some exclusive assets and an on-demand webinar when it's ready. This link will also come to you in a follow-up email that you will receive tomorrow. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Justin Smith. Justin is on the e-commerce marketing team here at Shipping Easy. He has over 8 years of experience working with e-commerce companies of all sizes, ranging from small e-commerce retailers all the way up to the world's largest retailers like Forever 21 and Walmart. Interestingly enough, he has commented in the past that many of the strategies that remain largely the same along the entire retail spectrum. So, Justin, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Great, thanks, Rob. All right, so with back to school season upon us once again, we're excited to provide you guys with some great actionable tips for driving more orders during this back to school season. As Rob mentioned, stay tuned at the end. We're going to have a great link for you guys for our back to school lunchbox, which will have some great stuff, including some back to school social media images for you guys to use, which we'll kind of talk about in the webinar here, as well as some great email templates and some other things. So, all right, great. So, you might be saying, who is this guy, and why does Shipping Easy know so much about back to school? Well, Shipping Easy has been around for over 5 years and provides e-commerce retailers with the easiest cloud-based shipping solution on the market, which not only saves you guys time, but also a ton of money when it comes to your shipping rates. So, as you can imagine, after 5 back-to-school seasons, we've heard and seen it all. So for today, what we did is we gathered about 7 actionable tips from our top performing customers on what really works for them to drive more orders during their back to school campaigns. All right. So the first tip is to think beyond your products and to really tell a story. Too often we focus around providing discounts and sales to the products that we're selling that are directly related to back to school. But we've seen a lot of success with customers who are also leveraging the back to school theme as a story around their products. So what do I mean by that? So for example, a few of our coffee customers emphasize all the time and money college students could save by making a cup of joe in their own room rather than stopping by, let's say, the local Starbucks. Or some of our auto parts companies are helping parents ensure rides to school or college are safe by providing tips on car maintenance and providing other offers for necessary parts and accessories. So don't just kind of slap a sales price on some items. Really think about how they can fit into kind of the students' lives. All right, the second tip is to get more creative with your product offerings. So try to bundle products to create a student pack or back-to-school survival kit for parents and students. So one good example of this is that same coffee customer referenced above who was marketing the cost savings over Starbucks. Well, they put together a back-to-school coffee value pack. So you can see that here with a travel mug, some coffee beans, and filters. Also, don't worry if your e-commerce platform doesn't allow for bundles. With Shipping Easy, we can help you fully manage your bundled inventory and ensure that you're not selling bundles, or that when you're selling bundles, it has all the correct inventory items inside of it. And so we have things like automated low stock alerts, and you can always make sure that everything's in stock and you create this perfect back-to-school pack. So if you're interested in learning more about our advanced product and inventory features, you can sign up for a free 30-day trial in the app itself under the inventory management section. All right, so tip number 3 is to remember back to school is not just about the students. Don't forget about the teachers and the parents. So with teachers, there's tons of opportunity here. Obviously, you've got classroom supplies, planners, and electronic devices, but that's really just the beginning. Teachers are going to need new professional outfits. They're going to need treats for their pets that they're going to be seeing a lot less of now. I know that's me going into the fall. They're going to need kind of weekend stress relief or kind of aromatherapy. Really, the point is to think outside the box. Don't just think so literally about kind of the teacher in the classroom. Also, don't forget about the parents, right? So not only are kids going back to school, but this also means that parents are headed back to work. vacations are over, they're helping kids with homework, taking kids off to sports practice, etc. So really think, how can my product fit into the narrative of a parent with kids going back to school? All right, so tip number 4, don't forget about email. So email is still the best way to get promotions in front of your customers, and most people know this, but here's a few kind of extra tips to think about when sending email promotions. So the first is to create a back-to-school flash sale. So in order to increase kind of a sense of urgency, make sure that your email template or the text in the email that you're sending has some mention of a countdown time when the flash sale will end. We see huge success with people who see this limited sales window for their back-to-school kind of sales. Also, don't forget about mobile. So over 50% of your customers will be reading your email on their mobile device. So you want to make sure to check your email templates, to make sure it's mobile friendly. 3 specific things you want to check for are the images kind of resizing and stacking properly on a mobile device? Are the calls to action tap friendly without kind of pinching and zooming around? And kind of is the most compelling information above the fold without having to scroll too much? Those are the 3 things you want to focus on. And finally, and most importantly, the thing that we hear a lot from most of our customers, excuse me, is around creating segmented lists. So obviously you can kind of email your entire list of customers, but being able to create targeted lists based off their order history and give them relevant targeted offers is what's going to drive significant order volume for you, extra order volume for you guys. So things like using back to school as an opportunity to re-engage with customers who have not purchased from you in over 90 days, or segmenting out your customers and your segmenting out your products within your orders to understand which products you plan to put on special for back to school, and potentially targeting customers who have purchased similar products in the past. And so this is actually the tip that we hear the most from our customers. Most companies don't do this today because it requires complex integrations in their marketing systems. But luckily, Shipping Easy, which already has all of your order and product data, has built-in customer management functions that allow you to send out campaigns like the ones described above in under 5 minutes. So if you're already a Shipping Easy customer, feel free to test it out by going to the customer management section. And if you're not, our great team of e-commerce experts can break it all down for you. All right, so the next tip is to go beyond posting, just posting on social channels. So according to a recent study by Deloitte, a quarter of shoppers plan to use social media for transactional purposes and to find coupons and deals. So you should be promoting whatever you're doing for back to school on various channels. And also, don't worry, I mean, another common thing we hear from our customers is they don't really have time to kind of do complex designs for social. So you can use free apps online like Canva and PicMonkey, and there's others out there to kind of create quick and easy, fun images for social. But I think what's important is that social is a great opportunity for your younger audience, for in general, because they kind of have this increasing level of influence and expendable income. In fact, based on data from the National Retail Federation, teens on average are shelling out more money this back-to-school season than ever before. It's up significantly from last year, and it's the highest since 2007. So it's important to kind of keep that in mind and not to neglect social. But on the flip side, engagement is king. So the key is not to just kind of push content out into social channels, but also to try to get your customers to engage. So some creative ways that we've seen that is to essentially run a contest. So empower some of your current customers to share photos of themselves using your products, turn into a contest where they can win some sort of back-to-school package or prize. You could encourage them to kind of use a hashtag and you're kind of, as a company, generating this user-generated content to use kind of later on through other future promotions, or you can use it kind of to build brand authority on your site, and of course with permission. But those are just kind of leveraging contests and getting people to kind of engage back with you on social is really important. Finally, another popular one that was kind of new to us that we heard just for the first time this year was from one of our customers that said that what they were doing is finding a lot of success with building back-to-school Pinterest boards, and really just kind of either on Pinterest, or if you're not on Pinterest, you could do the same thing on Facebook, but basically posting pictures of like fall's hottest trends and kind of must-buy items for visual back-to-school checklist essentially, and then linking back to their must-buy items on their different storefronts. And we've kind of talked a little bit about mobile, but kind of as we mentioned, a lot of buying power and influencing and influence kind of is now shifting to this younger generation, and younger people are on mobile devices, and obviously more and more adults are on mobile devices as well. So in fact, there was just a stat I think I read the other day that was released that about nearly half of all back-to-school shoppers plan to make purchases via their mobile device. So we've talked a little bit about email. Make sure that your kind of call to actions are kind of clickable and large and easy to read and easy to use, and you've got kind of your emails formatted. But this is also the time of the year where you should be doing this mobile website audit. Kind of go back through your site. Is your site fully usable? Can customers click back to your site, your different storefront properties? Are they able to make a purchase directly from their phone? It's something to kind of really think through. Cool. And last but not least, back to school is a great time to start a loyalty campaign. So, you want to really encourage your customers to opt into your email lists. You want to kind of brand them as, make them feel special, right? You want to provide incentives, implement a VIP program, and really, now is the time to really start building that email list for promotions and deals that are going to be coming up in the holiday season, which is, typically the biggest time of year for you guys. So you really want to promote these on your website, in your store if you have a storefront, really just kind of maximize participation. And again, it's, back to school is a great opportunity to kind of, launch one of these programs or just kind of make people feel like they're entering into this program. All right, so we flew through those pretty quickly, but we wanted to kind of give you these quick bite-sized 7 actionable tips. Hopefully you guys gleaned some things out of those tips, but kind of as a quick recap. Number 1 is, again, think beyond your products, tell a story. You don't have to just be focused on products that you're selling. You can create a blog post, a series of messages around kind of the back-to-school theme, and then tie those into the products that you're selling. Get creative with your product offerings, offer up some bundles, find clever ways to kind of be marketable and get people's attention, and bundle your different products together into things like a back-to-school survival kit. Don't forget about parents and students. All too often, parents and teachers. That's a typo there, but all too often we focus just on the students, and don't forget about kind of the activities that are surrounding back to school outside of literally going back to school. So parents leaving vacations, going back to work, and teachers obviously, a number of probably stress relieving and types of relaxing activities they're going to need to do to kind of deal with the back to school season. Also get more strategic with email, so don't just send a blast out to your customers. Make sure it's segmented, organized, and truly tied back to that order data. Go beyond just posting in your social channels. Try to run a contest. Get creative by posting a series of trends on Facebook or building a visual kind of back-to-school checklist. Don't forget about mobile. It's really important, especially as mobile continues to overtake. Make sure that you're kind of optimizing your site and optimizing different component of your email for mobile. And then finally, it's a great time to start a loyalty campaign. Many times our number 1 piece of feedback is that they leverage back to school to start collecting these VIP emails, these kind of loyalty incentive programs, so that in a few months, October rolls around, they can start really kind of targeting this list of newer buyers for the holiday season. So, all right. Great. So we'll open up to some questions. Rob, I'll kick it over back to you.
Very cool. Thank you, Justin, for all that helpful information. We're going to turn over to questions in just a second, but I do want to remind people that you can head to the link at the bottom of the slide here and access some free social graphics that we created, and the on-demand webinar will also be located there. So now let's go ahead and get to some questions. We've got a small handful here. First thing, Justin, somebody said that I don't currently use social media for my business. Should I consider it? Do I have to set up profiles on all the social channels? And I know you touched on this a little bit earlier, but can you maybe expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So social media is an important part of brand building. It allows you kind of this organic channel to connect with customers and build a relationship and kind of a place for you to have feedback and discussion. And trust me, I know it can be very overwhelming. There's so many different channels. So what I usually tell companies that are starting to first get involved with social media is just to pick one channel. So think about your products, your customer profile, understand where your customers are spending their time online. Do you have a visual product that's targeting millennials? Well, maybe focus on Instagram. Do you have a creative product targeting moms? Well, maybe focus on Pinterest. And so really just kind of focus on getting one channel up off the ground, and kind of that's kind of the most important part. And also don't forget there's a bunch of tools out there to make it pretty easy these days. So Hootsuite, for example, has free kind of cheap tools that allow you to manage your social channels. Tools like Canva, CANVA, as I kind of mentioned earlier, allow you to create images on the fly. So yeah, it's definitely kind of, even if you don't have time to do it, you can always partner with a local agency, or even just find a college student looking to make a little extra money on the side, or kind of use a marketplace like Upwork and find kind of freelancers to just do it on the cheap and part-time is definitely worth it.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, rather do one thing well than try to spread yourself too thin across a bunch of things and not really find success. So that's definitely important. So another person said, I know there are rules about who I can send emails to, and they're not really well versed on them. So can you provide a little bit of overview on what the rules are when dealing with sending emails out to people?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would highly recommend just doing a quick search on Google for CanSpam, so CAN space SPAM, if you really want to kind of dive into it. But really, there's three kind of basic rules to live by. The first is essentially only email people that have willingly given you their email address. So if you're out there buying lists, technically you're breaking the CanSpam law. If you what you want to do is make sure that your address and contact information is available in the email. And then the third kind of tip is to make sure that you provide a way for customers to unsubscribe, and that you actually respect that. So when somebody unsubscribes, you're not continuing to email them.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'm going to post in the chat here in just a second. We actually wrote a blog post that covers some of the CanSpam and Canadian anti-spam laws to help you kind of figure that out and navigate that a little bit. So I'll post that here in just a second. We've got another email or question about emails, and ties into another one that we have. So how many emails should you send to your customers per month, and can you send an email to just everybody on your list? What kind of advice do you have for that?
Yeah, so there's really two types of emails. There's transactional emails and there's marketing emails. So you can be a lot more kind of flexible with transactional emails. So we highly recommend just setting up automated transactional emails in Shipping Easy, so that, for example, after an order goes out, you can send a thank you follow-up, or kind of asking for a review. And those things can happen kind of quite frequently. They're based on the action of what someone's taken. The marketing emails, best practice is definitely no more than one per week. Typically a couple times per month is what we recommend. Anywhere between, let's say, once every other week is kind of the standard practice.
Yeah, it's definitely important not to inundate people in the inbox, for sure. You don't want to exhaust that list that you worked so hard to build up. Another person, and this is actually a question that we hear from a lot of e-commerce sellers, should I offer free shipping? What are your thoughts on that, Justin?
Yeah, I mean, that's really kind of comes down to your business, right? So do you have the product margins that can absorb the cost of free shipping? But as we all know, free shipping is an important factor in kind of purchase decisions these days. So in fact, I don't know, off the top of my head, something like 50% of carts are abandoned after they find out there isn't free shipping. So it's definitely something to consider. But another thing to consider is that we're seeing a huge shift in kind of customer demand for faster delivery. So even if you can't offer free shipping, using a platform like Shipping Easy to send out orders faster, or potentially kind of adding some overnight or quick delivery options, is just as important. And the other thing is, remember, you can always test it out and add it as a test, right? So the last thing, kind of just consider if you have repeat buyers, and if you want to offer maybe a free shipping kind of as a promotional item for back to school to kind of get some folks in the door, so that you can kind of continue those repeat buyers as kind of an incentive. Yeah, but it's really up to the business. I mean, that's kind of a hard question, but
yeah, a lot of that stuff is going to be very company specific, but it all depends on how you can kind of find the right balance, right? Let's see. So another question we have is, how do I know if my emails look okay on mobile? Do you have any help with people trying to figure that out?
Yeah, so I think the simple answer is just to send yourself a test, right? You can send it to your own phone, and don't forget. I think the number one thing that people forget is they'll just send it to themselves, look at it. Don't forget to actually click on the links, click around. Sometimes, for example, a text link may be very hard to kind of thumb, and so you might want to make it a bigger button. What's also cool is that within the Shipping Easy customer management section, you can preview the templates that you're going to send in both tablet and mobile views, so you can see how it's going to kind of appear on mobile phones.
Perfect. And we did get another question in here, and I can actually speak a little bit to this. Can Shipping Easy show more on how their customers brand their shipments, thank you inserts, printed out custom boxes, etc.? We don't have any here in the slide immediately, but we're actually currently running a contest called Show Us Your Ship. And we've been asking customers to submit photos of them shipping their products, what their products look like, how they go through the process. And you can actually see some really unique ways that people are personalizing some of these things, whether it's they're customizing the inserts that are saying things like "You rock" for a company that takes recycled products and turns them into amps and speakers. We've had some people that get their kids involved and actually have them coloring and doodling on some of the envelopes that are going out to people to make them look fun and exciting and interesting. So when it really pops in the mailbox there. So actually, if you hop over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/shippingeasy, we have a whole photo album of customers called Show Us Your Ship 2017. And you can see some really cool examples there. Highly recommend taking a look at that and also participating. Today's actually the last day. If you submit a photo before the end of today, you can win $2,500 as the top prize and 6 months free of Shipping Easy. So it's a very cool prize, and we've had a lot of really awesome, unique entries. So definitely recommend taking a look at that. And it looks like that is all the questions that we've had so far. There's another one that we can answer offline from Grant. We'll catch back up with you on that because it's very product specific. Justin, do you have any final parting words?
No, it's been great to kind of share these thoughts with you, and feel free to follow up with anyone on our team. And don't forget to go get the lunchbox content.
Absolutely. So thank you everybody for attending, and keep an eye out for that follow-up email coming to you tomorrow with on-demand access to this webinar. And like Justin said, you'll also have access to some exclusive promotional materials in there as well. So have a great day, and we hope to see some great successes with your back-to-school marketing campaigns.